So before I get started with this video, first thing I want to say is it's an honor to be a part of this debate. It's an honor to be a judge in this debate, and in a way, I don't even feel worthy to be a judge of this debate. But I was very honored when I was told I was considered as a judge. I was very honored to find out that, I ended up being a judge. And I have much respect toward Dill and much respect toward Shady Slim. I'm actually a subscriber to both channels. I'm sorry if my attention seems a bit divided, and that's just because right now it currently is. So before I get started, I just want to say, it also much respect to EJ News, and I'll be honest, I'm not really satisfied with the way that this recording is going so far, but I'm still going to use it just due to time constraint. I'm signing into work stuff, and I may not have time to do this later, and I didn't just want to simply post a comment on the Hangout. So I do want to give a breakdown on why I'm scoring this the way that I am. So, but much respect to everybody, the other two judges, EJ News, or EJ Boxing News, Dilltown, and Shady Slim. So, what I want to say is, for the opening statement, they both gave very good opening statements. And also, I just want to say, big props to Shady Slim. He said something that I think is really the only way to go into judging a debate. You have to act like you don't know who the fighters are, because you're not scoring based off of the fighters' accolades. You're scoring off of what is actually going on in the debate. It's just like two fighters. You aren't going to score them based off of their resume. You're gonna score them based off of what they're doing there in the ring. So, very similar principles. So for the opening statements, I'm gonna go ahead and call that round a draw, because I'm gonna separate opening statements and the other rounds, just because I know they had consolidated them, but for the sake of the scoring, I'm going to separate them. So that round I'm going to call a draw. Dilltown, he did a very good job as well. Dilltown, he's just smart, man. He knows his stuff, regardless if you like him, if you don't. He knows his boxing, all right. And in his opening statements, he brought up some, just some solid points on, what he is going to bring upon in this debate. So I'm going to call the opening statements a draw. So I kind of, in fact, being that it's a draw, we're just going to go ahead and discard it, because it doesn't really do anything for the scoring. So for the first round, or the second round, I believe is what they called it in the debate. That round, I have to say, Shady surprised me, man. He really brought a lot of heat, a lot of stuff I didn't expect him to mention in his and I hate doing this stuff while I'm not giving you my full attention, but he did an awesome job in bringing up the thing about the just facts. I think that was one of his weaknesses when he went up against the boxing librarian, is a lot of the stuff he gave was opinion. He actually brought a lot of facts to the table, mentioning the bronze medal that Evander Holyfield had won, as opposed to the gold medal that Sugar Ray Leonard had won. And big props to him for that. Also, bringing up the facts of, things that other fighters have said about Sugar Ray Leonard. And one thing I will say, I'm right now, debates are like the Wild Wild West. We don't really have a set way on doing these debates, and I'm actually going to make a separate video. I've made a video similar on this topic before, but I think I have a better idea of how to get debate, at least foundation. I'm not saying that I'm the perfect person to come up with format for debates, but I think I do have some solutions that may or may not work, and I'm going to bring those in a separate video. But that may be something that may not be allowed in the future. I'm not saying, I'm not scoring Shady down for that whatsoever, because it's like I said, there's not really anything established right now. Where maybe years from now people will be looking at our debates and see how we came up with them. But for now, we are the opening debaters. And I shouldn't even say we, because I haven't debated yet, which is another reason why I feel honored for even being allowed to score in this debate. But back to the debate. Dilltown, though, man, he also brought upon a lot of good points as well. He actually brought up a lot of these points in his opening statement. And that is about the whole, about the champions that he had beaten, how he beat Muhammad Ali, which that was an awesome fight. I mean, I don't care if Holyfield is not your favorite fighter. You watch that Quali fight, you're in for a treat. I mean. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard Evander Holyfield lost like 15 pounds by the end of the night just from, sweat, dehydration. So, I mean, he put his heart and soul in that fight. But I didn't use that. I really wasn't considering that when I was listening to the debate, because it is a debate. I just wanted to throw that out there. This is a boxing channel first and foremost. And I have to say, if you're a boxing fan, check out that fight. But anyways, back to what I was saying. And I mean, he just brought up, some really good facts about, going from, he's one of the, he cleared out the cruiserweight division, then went up to the heavyweight division and made his mark there. He did a very good job establishing that. So, given all those facts, I'm going to have to give that a draw as well. Because, I mean, Shady did very good offense. It's the best way I could put it. And I think, he did a lot of attacking Evander Holyfield, which is fine. Evander Holyfield is actually one of my favorite fighters. I have a lot of respect for him, but in these debates, it is the debater's job to disprove the other fighter. If the debate is on fighters, it's their job to disprove or make the fighter on the other side look as bad as possible while elevating their fighter as well as they can. So, I think Shady just did a really good job on the offense, but Dilltown did just as equal a good job on the defense. He did a very good job of defending Evander Holyfield, and I just think that in my eyes, a lot of that round had to do with Evander Holyfield. It wasn't so much about Sugar Ray Leonard. it was more about Evander Holyfield. My opinion is more on the attack of Evander Holyfield and the defense of Evander Holyfield. So it just seemed like Leonard was being used as the tool to devalue him, which is, like I said, normally I'm against putting down the greats, but in a debate, all is fair in love and war. So I have to call that one a draw. And then in the question back and forth, this is where the separation happened, in my opinion. Shady, first off, what I'm going to say is, I know there was a lot of problems, just technical difficulties, to no one's fault. I mean, it is what it is. Dilltown, he kept on breaking up and stuff, and Dilltown did go, like, all his questions in a go, when it's supposed to be back and forth. Now, I'm not counting that against Dilltown. I'm just saying, I think we definitely need to be more uniform in the debate. So my understanding is they were going to go back and forth and end up being like asking all these questions. Then the other person asked all the questions, and then another question got brought up. So I'm not scoring down nobody for that. I'm just throwing that out there. I would like to see a little bit more uniform in these debates when it comes to that. But the bottom line is, Dilltown was able to answer almost every question that Shady asked, and his answers were very solid. Shady was able to answer the questions that Dill was asking, but it was more opinionative, and I just think Dilltown did a better job of answering the questions, and I think that he deserves that round. So Dilltown won the third round, in my opinion, or the second round, whatever number round you want to call that. I want to say that Dilltown won because he was able to come up with the more solid answers. And then the one question that he was able to that he wasn't able to answer, in my opinion, that question I don't think can be used against him for a couple of reasons. And keep in mind, I have much respect for both of these debaters, okay? And Shady is actually a very good friend of mine. But what I will say this, because I have to be integral about this. I have to maintain my integrity, when it comes to judging a debate, which is why I want to explain why I'm judging the way that I am. But I think the Ring Magazine title question, I mean, in a way it was a good question because, it was more devaluing of Evander Holyfield. But at the end of the day, this is also mainly about the debaters. And this, I just feel it has to be taken in consideration, is the fact that, it's not like this is something that Shady just knew. And I'm not saying he's not knowledgeable about boxing, but Shady is not, it just, when you're there sitting looking at Wikipedia, it is, to me, I just think it can't be held against Dilltown when you yourself didn't know the answer right off the top of your head. You are referencing a website, which is Wikipedia, and Wikipedia does have some misinformation on top of that. Now, you kind of have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb to find the errors. You have to really be looking for them, but they are there. So given those facts, I have to give that round to Dilltown. And then for closing statements was very good, but What I will say is that Dilltown did a very good job of sticking to the facts. Now, as far as like the extra time, there was an issue with time because Dilltown went over a little bit. I'm not gonna hold that against Dilltown. I think given the technical difficulties, everybody did the best that they could, including Dilltown. Much respect to Dilltown. He did everything he could, even with the technical difficulties. I know it can be frustrating, and much respect to EJ. I will say this, I think EJ is an awesome moderator. I haven't heard him moderate before, but if he moderates all it, and I don't know if he's ever moderated before, but if he moderates all the debates, like he moderated this one, and this is no disrespect to Dilltown, because Dilltown's he's very fair when he moderates, but I feel that EJ is the best moderator I've heard. That's just my opinion. I think he did a very good job of managing everything and not putting up with any nonsense from either side, and being very clear and concise. So, but back to Dilltown, I do think that EJ made the right choice by allotting Shady Slim with more time. But I also don't put Dilltown at fault, because he doesn't know when he's not being heard, so if he has to go back and re-explain stuff, it really can't be held against him, but at the end of the day, somebody has to win this round, or it has to be a draw. I give that round to Dilltown as well, simply because Dilltown he has a knack for keeping the facts, man. If the less opinion that you keep out of your debate and the more facts that you keep, is only going to help you in the debate, and that's exactly what he did. And Shady just fell a little short. He kept facts in his closing statement, but he also threw in, Marvin Hagler being the best middleweight of all time. That's completely it's not false, but it's not fact either. It's completely an opinion. And it's like I said, the less opinion you keep out, the more, and the more facts you keep in, that's what's going to help you win a debate. It just is. I'm not going to say it's not a good look, because actually Slim looked very good in this debate, to be honest. But in my opinion, at least the way that I score, but he fell short just because he threw in opinions, and that's not the only one. That's the only one I could think of off the top of my head. I did have to listen to half of it last night, or an hour of it last night, and the remainder of it this morning, because I had other stuff I had to do. I did try to get into the debate live, but it said that I was blocked. So if I was available during that time, I wasn't really available. If I would have known, I would have taken care of my other stuff beforehand and then listened to the debate last night in its full entirety. But first 2 rounds were a draw. Second 2 rounds were were to Dilltown. So it doesn't take rocket scientists to figure out that I scored it for Dilltown. Now, that being said, Shady Slim, man, you impressed me, though. You have to keep in mind, Dilltown has beaten the Boxing Librarian in a debate, and Boxing Librarian has admitted so. And I feel you did a lot better in this debate than you did against the Boxing Librarian. So, you're striving, you're moving forward and not backward, which is always a positive thing. I heard you say that if you lost, that you would back off of the Boxing Librarian. And I feel that you should actually still pursue that debate, assuming that you're continuing to sharpen your skills. Because the more you debate, the more that you know, and it's just like boxing, you know. The more you fight, the sharper you become. You know, iron sharpens iron, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you're getting sharper. I would not say not to pursue the boxing librarian in another debate. If you wanted to, I would say take on some other debates in the process. And I'm not laughing because I think that's what you should do. Is just like I said, I'm just thinking about my statement. Iron sharpens iron, and you know, that's only gonna make you even more sharper and more better prepared. There's no shame in losing to either of these guys. They're very, very knowledgeable in the sport. And I think that you're a lot more ready now than you were before in debating. And as your friend, I want to say, you know, just keep it up, man. Don't be discouraged, and don't give up on that boxing librarian debate. And, you know, you can hit me up anytime, man. You know, if you want. You can even get my number, and we can discuss it further. But I do think that you were very impressive in this debate. You were just impressive against the boxing librarian because, I mean, it seemed like you really didn't know what you were getting yourself into. And for somebody who got somewhat bombarded, I think you did all right. But ultimately, I mean, that was a blowout, but I think you did a very good job of standing your ground on this. And as for Dilltown, much respect to you. Congratulations. At least on my scoring, you won, and that's as fair as I could put it. You know, I think you won this debate. I think Shady brought some good points to you in the beginning, but in the end, you were able to take those rounds, and you know, I feel you won the debate. So much respect to you. Once again, much respect to EJ. Very good moderator. Very fair. You know, and I don't think Dilltown was actually trying to argue with him, but I think that he, you know, the call that he made at that point in time was the most fair, and he also established, hey, this is my hangout, you know, and ultimately the moderator is like the referee. What he says goes. So much respect to him as well, and I think he just made the most fair call that he could at that time near the end of the debate, when there was some issues coming up with how much time was being used and allotted. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video now. I just wanted everyone to know why I'm scoring it the way that I am, and this is way too much to put in a comment. So hope y'all have a wonderful and blessed day. Peace.